Oh, okay. It started recording. Should we start now?
Sure.
Mary's trying to sign in. Okay, we are officially starting. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. So fun to see so many of you. And we are glad that you are sharing some of your precious time with us. I know it's busy for everyone, but we are excited. I am excited that we have several panelists who are actually alumni of the Talent Alliance Career Cohort. So we have Tiana Hawkins, Jessica Berryhill, Anne Marie Chilton, um, Crystal Belvin, and Tyler Gold. And Mary is trying to log in. I don't know if she's having some technical difficulties, but I will let them introduce themselves one by one. Let us start with Tiana.
Hello, good people. My name is Tiana Hawkins. I'm a clinical social worker. I have a background in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors, and currently I have a private therapy practice. In my Salesforce world, I contract with a small tech company, and we provide consulting services to primarily companies and governments in the nonprofit or in the child welfare arena, but also in juvenile justice and community mental health. Thanks so much for being here.
How about Jessica Berryhill next?
Oh, hi, I'm Jessica. I am in the dental space. I am a virtual billing specialist. I've been in dental for like 15 years doing assisting everything front office, and now I work remotely for a third-party billing company. I am bored. There's only so many things you can do in the dental field, and I just have been looking for something more to do, and was looking for options. Somebody recommended Salesforce. I'd never heard of it. It does not exist in dentistry, or very, very little if you're like in an actual practice, and fell in love with it. The positivity of the Salesforce community is polar opposite than like the online community of the dental community. And it's so refreshing. And then right now, I'm not currently working in Salesforce, but just talked my company into bringing it on. So going to be working with it shortly. So very excited.
Intentional admin. Okay.
Purposeful admin.
Purposeful admin. Yeah. Next up is Anne Marie Chilton.
Hi guys. So Anne Marie, I'm in Florida. My healthcare background is orthotics and prosthetics. Started as a technician, so I know how to build everything from your head to your toes, prosthetically and bracing. I see patients specifically for lower limb short braces, diabetic shoes, inserts, short ankle gauntlets, that kind of stuff. The reason why I jumped into Salesforce is because my boss made me mad. And even though I brought my whole brag book and was like, hey, yearly review, you should do the things to promote me, he was like, yeah, no, it's not in the budget, but that's a lie. So found out about Salesforce through my husband. He had started first, and now I've blown way past him and have extra stars and all the badges and all that kind of good stuff, gotten to the TACC. Have not gotten my admin certification yet. It is kicking my butt. So this next time will be my 5th attempt and hopefully final, but I'm getting closer, So, but I'm excited. I want to jump in both feet first and be awesome in the Salesforce sphere. So that's me.
And before we proceed with Tyler, I just wanted to let everyone know we're not really counting how many attempts you go for the admin exam. What's important is shoot to pass that. That's it. Once you pass it, announce it to the world. Okay, Tyler, you're up next.
Hey, everybody. Thanks all for being here. Appreciate seeing everyone's faces. My name's Tyler. I'm from Florida. I'm a physical therapist and love doing physical therapy. However, a couple years ago, I noticed with billing, things are always going in the wrong direction rather than the right direction. So it's kind of hard to advance. That's all of medical. We all know that for sure. But um, COVID just kind of kickstarted short staffing at my building and a lot of burnout. So I left full time to work PRN, which is what I still do right now, PRN physical therapist at a hospital and inpatient rehab. And just been grinding on the Salesforce journey slowly, a little bit of work here and there, a little bit of Salesforce here and there, just on the slow path. So that's me entering the Salesforce field in my own way.
Thanks, Tyler. And so we finally have Mary. Yay! Mary Buckley was able to join us. Go for it, Mary.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining this meeting. My name is Mary, and I have been a registered nurse for the last 10 years, primarily working in pediatric hospitals. And I did a little bit of that in New Zealand for the last 4 years. So through the pandemic, which was a very interesting time, I basically, in a very roundabout way, came across Salesforce through listening to a podcast where Bradley was being interviewed and mentioned this, platform that I'd never heard before, but it really sparked my interest. And that was in February of this year. I am on a journey to transition out of healthcare for various reasons. A couple of people mentioned, that I resonated with the burnout and just politics and work-life balance. So I'm looking for remote job opportunities as well, because my husband and I, we are digital nomads currently. So we're from Seattle. I'm from Seattle, but I am living in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico right now for the time being. And with Salesforce in my journey, I got certified in May, and I've been working on some hands-on projects to get that experience in building. And I discovered Talent Alliance, just over 2 months ago, and I really enjoyed the experience. So I'm excited to talk more about that with you all.
Yay. And last but not the least, Crystal.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I go by Crystal. That's okay. So I have been an LPN for too long, since end of 2006. So my journey, pretty much like the rest of you, you can only do so much and you can only take so much, right? Before you start feeling the burn. So for me, that actually happened before the pandemic. And so I spent probably like a year trying to figure it out. And then all of a sudden we got hit with this thing that kind of changed life for everybody, right? So I did a little bit of travel nursing, made a lot of money, but I knew that was not where I intended to stay. In the midst of all that, I relocated 800 miles away from home. So I'm in Charlotte, normally from Connecticut. And I love it here. I look at this place as like the land of opportunity, and there actually is a Salesforce office like 2 miles from my house. And my real introduction to Salesforce, my brother-in-law was an account exec. And he's like, oh, you should check this out. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not selling anything. Like, I did mortgages for 2 years. I ain't selling nothing. And he was like, no. There's more you can do. There's more you can do. So then I heard about this thing called Trailhead, and it kind of just went from there. So like Tyler said, I've just been on this slow but steady journey. It has its ups and downs, but I'm going to say way more ups than downs. So nobody's tracking you. Just so that you know. But yeah, this is a really, really great place to be. And I'm excited to be part of this group. to give you all an introduction on how you can get there too.
Yay. Thanks to our panelists. I will also introduce myself. So my name is Lori Tibbetts, and I actually am the founder of the Healthcare Heroes course group on LinkedIn. And the reason how I founded that was this. So I was also one of the burnt out nurses back in 2020. You know, I was working so hard, being thankful that I still had a job. By the end of 2020, I was really burnt out, and I started saving up money for a mini sabbatical while I looked for a different career. Didn't matter whether that was in a local grocery store or what. But it was kind of expedited when I've also witnessed one of my close friends who also happened to be a nurse die from COVID. And that was it. I did not really want to go back anymore. I wanted to take care of myself, protect myself from the exposure and whatnot. And I finally had enough saved up for a year's worth of expenses and started my mini sabbatical while skilling up on Trailhead. I saw that Salesforce 5-day challenge. On the second day of the 5-day challenge, I was like, oh my God, this is mentally stimulating. I think I like it. And I Googled healthcare in Salesforce, just trying to see whether I can marry the two. And lo and behold, I found Health Cloud. And I was like, oh my God, I can have a career here. And so I ended up actually joining Talent Stacker for guidance because I had no clue how to do LinkedIn when I joined actually. And I started, of course, like many others, I started with the Trailhead admin superset. And I was doing it so slowly. I wasn't joining study groups because I did not want to drag anyone because I was really very slow trying to enjoy my mini sabbatical, you know. And at the end of the superset, I stepped back and just kind of asked myself, so what did I actually learn? Based on what I was seeing in the modules in the talent stacker, I was like, oh, okay, I can volunteer for a job once I have my cert, but I want to do something like an app as suggested also in the modules. And I started building apps, sharing with others, and I kind of discovered how different the Salesforce community was because of those. I was afraid to expose myself as the newbie who was trying to build something that's probably stupid to the eyes of the experts, right? And then the third thing I posted about was my portfolio. I had a very short clip of that, and it triggered a lot of responses and comments and questions from my network, and a lot also of connection requests. So I was like, I took that opportunity. I said, well, if this is gonna be a job that I might do, in the future, basing on the talent center modules, then I should learn how to use the technology, teach others, kind of like end user training sort of deal, and really show to potential employers that I can communicate and I can train others, But I didn't have a single certificate at the time. I was afraid. I always started my, so I offered workshops for the experience portfolio building despite my fear. And all I got really was encouragement and more friendship, more meaningful connection. Friendship. My popularity increased. I said, oh, so this is how you get to the surface. So the recruiters will find you, and your future potential employers, future coworkers will find you. And you see, you know how big the internet is, right? And because of that, because of the more meaningful connections that I made, especially when I finally passed the exam, so many were celebrating with me. I kind of realized how powerful the community was and how I could give back to the community even at the time that I really did not have nothing. I thought I had nothing to offer because I was not an expert. But I guess even at any stage of your Salesforce journey, you can help others. You can try to lift each other up, support each other, and that's what we've been doing, really, especially here in the Talent Alliance Career Cohort. So that refilled my cup, and I started wanting to find my tribe, and that's how I started. I founded the Healthcare Heroes group on LinkedIn, and I'm proud to say that we now have 917 members. And I try to always look for topics for sessions where potential newbies, the newbies or potentially looking into the Salesforce as a new career to get into, would find beneficial and helpful, would guide people. So once we had more popularity of the group, somebody tapped on one of the organizers of the Talent Alliance Career Cohort. You see, TACC is a Salesforce program. And one of the organizers, the one who was actually facing the companies looking for talent, was the first one to reach out to me after an introduction by one of our members in the Healthcare Heroes. And after the first meeting, we set up another meeting, this time with Shayla Mark, who's the one facing the job seekers. So there are several of them working together on the TACC. Those two, the company facing and the job seeker facing, were the ones I talked to before. And they explained that because they want to compete with companies like Cerner. Cerner apparently is a veteran when it comes to electronic health record, and previously partnered with Salesforce and stopped the partnership, wanting now to copy the CRM of Salesforce, come up with their own version. So Salesforce wants to buckle down and compete with that. So essentially, the group, as Shayla told me, our group, our healthcare group, is their market. They want to target us because they need to fill the gap in Salesforce professionals with healthcare background. So that's what we're aiming to do here. And they are also currently in the works of finding more partners who would get into the interview part. We'll talk about that later, of the TACC. So that's the gist of why we have our Healthcare Heroes cohort here, despite the TACC originally being meant to serve the underrepresented groups. We have our own special group, I guess. The underrepresented groups before were like Blacks, Latinx, immigrants, moms coming from being a stay-at-home. What else? Ukrainian talent, etc. So as you can see, it's kind of like a different group being healthcare people, right? We're special. We're unicorns. Okay, so we have prepared a series of questions that our panelists will answer. And if at the end of these questions that we have prepared ourselves, you still have questions, feel free to ask, or if you are kind of shy to talk on camera, you can also post your question in the chat and I will keep an eye on those. Okay. All right. So for our first question, what is the ACC? Tiana will be answering that for us. Go ahead, Tiana.
Thanks, Lori. And Lori just gave some really great insight about Salesforce in general as a company, right? Salesforce wants to take over the world of CRM. Across all industries, all sectors, they want to take over the world. And in that regard, it's estimated that by 2026, the Salesforce ecosystem will drive 9.3 million jobs. And in order for them to be the #1 CRM, they have to have professionals to fill those 9.3 million jobs. And so the Salesforce Talent Alliance Career Cohort is part of that endeavor. Salesforce wants to do three things, right? They want to attract new talent, they want to train that new talent, and they want to partner with companies to get that new talent into these companies that, as Lori mentioned, generally it's underrepresented talent, to get them into inclusive and diverse work environments. So to that regard, Salesforce has partnered with a lot of different agencies, companies who hire net new talent. That's the company-facing portion of the Talent Alliance. And the career cohorts in particular are groups of new Salesforce candidates. We'll say those of us who are interested in Salesforce, we've learned a little bit about it, but we haven't gotten any professional certifications yet. We're still early on in our journeys. So we join the Talent Alliance Career Cohorts, and that's a career development program that helps accelerate your job process. They teach you about what is this Salesforce ecosystem? What do we mean when we keep saying that? What are the various jobs and roles in the Salesforce ecosystem? How do I become an outstanding candidate? Get mentorship, guidance, interviews, information to help you go from, I've heard of Salesforce and this might be interesting, to I'm a newly employed Salesforce professional. How do you join? Where do you start? You want to start with Salesforce Fundamentals. I will drop a link in the chat. Salesforce Fundamentals is a 3-week program that gives you those that answers those foundational questions, like what is the Salesforce ecosystem? And then once you've completed or at least registered for Salesforce Fundamentals, you'll apply for Salesforce Talent Alliance Career Cohorts. Those of you on this call, I'm assuming, have a wonderful healthcare background, and we have our own cohort. And Tyler will provide more information on the process.
Thanks, Deanna. So before Tyler will explain the process, we are going to have Jessica first to answer the question, how does one become eligible to join?
So for the healthcare group, essentially you just have to be affiliated with a healthcare background. So I had originally looked into Talent Alliance when I started down the trailhead over a year ago. And I unfortunately didn't fall into any of the underrepresented categories to qualify. So thank heavens for Lori and creating this group, created this opportunity that I was able to join because I did not qualify prior to this. And anybody in the healthcare sphere is able to be part of it. If you are new in the Salesforce journey, whether you're just started looking into it, maybe you've got a little bit further and working on getting that first certification or got your associate, when you apply, they'll screen through your application to determine your eligibility for the program. We don't do that, but there is a lead who does do all the screening for the applications. But even like in my own little dental sphere, I kind of feel a little outside of everybody else in the cohort because I don't have that ERM experience. But, you know, I feel just as included with everybody. So it's a great place to be, and it's a great community to build.
Thanks, Jessica. I just would like to clarify also that it's not just healthcare, any health and life sciences. So even if, let's say, you're a vet med person, or you're a health coach, or personal trainer, even nutritionist, dietitian, whatever. And even if, let's say, you worked in a hospital before, but your role was in the cafeteria or housekeeping, you're welcome. Welcome to join. Okay. So for the process of getting into the TACC, here's Tyler.
Thanks, guys. The process is a pretty straightforward one. Everybody's alluded to it just a little bit along the way. So Salesforce has a webinar kind of just to generate leads of those candidates who are interested in learning about Salesforce, right? So it's just a webinar you watch, you participate, but as a participant of that webinar, it allows you to apply to the TACC. So I just posted my recommendation. Obviously, you only really need to do the second 2 steps, which is to watch the Salesforce Fundamentals webinar and then to apply for the cohort, which those 2 links are going to take you to some pages that are not currently in process, because right now the cohort is already about to run. So it would eventually put you on a wait list for, I think the next one would be in the fall. But my recommendation, if you haven't already, if you're just interested in, here at this point, sign up for a free Trailhead account and just get on there and start exploring around, just learn what Salesforce is. There's so many modules on there, you'll get lost, which is why this program is so beneficial in the first place, because once you get lost, TACC starts to rein you in and teach you where to go and kind of give you that direction. So the process is an easy one, but it's well guided.
Thanks, Tyler.
Mhm.
Okay, so for the question of what is the commitment, or is there any flexibility allowed for this? Because a lot of us are still working, sometimes part-time like Tyler does. So maybe that is a question that popped in your head. You might not be able to commit to the program. So here is Anne-Marie Chilton to answer those questions.
Hi again. Sorry. So yeah, so the flexibility, the commitment, all of that kind of good stuff. So it's an 11-week program. My cohort started in January and ran all the way until April, and it was once a week on Tuesday nights. The different cohorts do meet at different times. I'm sure when the next round of the healthcare cohorts starts back up, I don't know if it's going to be a Tuesday again, but who knows? But I'm about to post a picture in the chat of just the general timeline. So the first week, you're learning the basics, you're introducing yourself to everybody. Your leads, we had 3. Lori was one of ours, along with Annie Tootin and Pressy Abrams, I think is how she pronounced her last name. Anyways,
Yeah.
So
and the more recent one is Marie Pope.
Yeah, and then Marie Pope was in the most recent one, but for me it was those 3. So we just all kind of introduced ourselves, figured out where we were starting from. Some of us were just getting started, some had their associate because the associate had just come through, some had their admin, were working on other things, but trying to find where we bridge that gap, like Lori was saying, in the healthcare world into Salesforce. So like I said, it's 11 weeks. You just, every week you would meet up. They are recorded. So like Tyler and everyone was saying, that if you can't immediately meet on that day, like I said, mine was Tuesdays at 7:30. So I was able to go to the actual virtual meeting, but if you couldn't, they're recorded. You could go back, you could watch what everybody talked about. You could figure out what the homeworks were, because there is usually a small little homework based on either a module or something they wanted us to build. I forget which particular day or week was, but it was like optimizing your LinkedIn. So prior to the Optimize LinkedIn meeting, everybody was supposed to kind of go and spruce up their LinkedIn and then share. And then we all kind of picked through what we liked, what we didn't like, how to tweak it, make it look better, that kind of stuff. I'm still tweaking my LinkedIn. Like my About Me probably needs way more love than I have given it recently. So it is Lori likes to say, it's your living resume. So it is constantly evolving, constantly getting better, constantly looking cooler, hopefully making more people sit up and take notice of you. Hopefully you're all posting. Doesn't matter what you're posting, you can post dumb stuff. I posted dumb stuff. I posted like when I really messed up on a badge and I was like, why did I not understand this? And I'm like, did anybody else have this problem? And the amount of people that were like, me too. So we're all dumb in some way, shape, or form. So I posted it. Whatever. Oh, and then Lori talking about her portfolio stuff. Her Experience Cloud portfolio. Mine is trash. Mine is still trash. I'm still working on it. Maybe Crystal can tell you all about her awesome one that she's been putting together, tweaking constantly, but mine, that's still on my back burner. But like I said, every week you're doing something new. There's always some form of homework, like the LinkedIn or the Experience Cloud portfolio, or whatever it is that they're trying to specifically push forward on that week to make everybody better. I know on our last day, just for funsies, we all put on a silly hat, and that was our last meeting to kind of break the ice and be silly. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I still talk to all of the talent stackers, not talent stackers, I am a talent stacker, but all of the TACC people. And we all still kind of get together and have study groups and try to work on projects. But of course, life happens. So we all try to reschedule when we can and meet up with everyone. I think that's it. That's just, we're all just cool, just hanging out.
Yes, we are cool. We are cool. Okay, for our next question, what are the benefits of joining TACC? And Mary is going to be answering that. Go ahead, Mary. You're on mute, just in case you don't know.
Yeah. Hi. Cool. Sorry, toggling between multiple browsers here. Yeah, so with the benefits of joining the Talent Alliance career cohort, I'll just kind of go by kind of categories in terms of breaking it down. So, because there are a lot. So the first one I wanted to talk about is called the Trailhead Coach, which is actually a website portal for once you're in the program and you can log in, and it offers quite a bit in the portal. And I would say that the key things are there are free certification exam vouchers. And I actually had experience using it for myself when I went to apply for the business analyst certificate recently. So I went into the Trailhead Coach, and you just say which certification you're targeting, and you basically, then get a voucher code to use, and it's completely free, which is amazing, resource, honestly. But on top of that, they, set up a little kind of exam prep for you, where you can know where you are in your journey of preparing for this exam. And there's exam specific materials. So for example, the business analyst, they just said, check out the business analyst modules on Trailhead. So I liked how everything was just so well structured on the site and kind of tied together depending on what your goals are. And that's something that I'll say too. So you can set your goal on Trailhead Coach, whether it's studying and getting certified for the various certificates, or whether your goal is to apply an interview for jobs, because there'll be different resources dedicated to just that. Or, there's also a really cool feature, and I am excited to try this out, but there's automatic access to interviews with different employers who are aware of the pool of talent within Salesforce Talent Alliance career cohorts. So you can actually go in. I wonder if I can share. Hold on, let me see. So I can just demonstrate. Can I share my screen?
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, Mary's sharing. I was just going to say that to earn the certificates, you do have to go through some criteria to earn them. They do set certain like modules that you have to complete to actually earn that free voucher. So you do have to work for it, but it is worth it.
Yes, yes, thank you for that caveat. So if you can see my screen, I am logged into my Trailhead Coach website. And so it shows currently my career goal, which you can customize and select as I'm studying for the Salesforce Platform App Builder, right? And this is kind of the path that I was referring to earlier on where you are getting ready for that. With the interviews, so under interviews here, you can actually have a look at these featured companies or hiring partners. So there are quite a number of them, and you would just go in to sign up for if you wanted to apply for that company, and it literally takes you into like a calendar booking page. So it's very easy to use, very user-friendly and accessible. And I think it's just an incredible resource personally in terms of, you know, not having to even go through multiple other pre-screening rounds, and you just get to interview directly with these different partners. So let me see. So yeah, that is, I'll stop sharing right now. Okay. That
May
is a
I
bit
add
of
one thing about the interviews?
course.
I just want to point out that all of the Talent Alliance company partners have committed to reserving 20% of their annual hiring for net new talent. So 20% of the candidates that they will hire in any given year are going to be folks who have less than 6 months of Salesforce experience. And when you're part of the Talent Alliance career cohorts, you're at the top of that list. That is all.
Thank you for sharing. Mary, do you still have any more to add?
Can I add one
Um,
on? Sorry.
Was that
Oh.
Jessica?
I was just going to say, so it doesn't always guarantee that when you apply to meet with them that they are currently hiring, but it does give you a great direct introduction to that company, make a great impression, get your name in their mind, so you can hopefully be kind of at the top of their list when maybe they are hiring. So it's a great opportunity.
Yes, and to piggyback on that, I've seen a lot of people who just cannot get an interview, applying to hundreds and hundreds of companies. And so this is like an easy way to get in front of these people. And you should, if you have done those hundreds of applications, submitted them with nothing, no replies whatsoever at all, having these automatic interviews, you would appreciate them. So that's really a great benefit. Okay, back to you, Mary, if you still have some more to add.
Yeah, I mean, I guess basically, I think the main benefit is that, you know, this program is structured in a way where it just every week you're covering a specific content. Like, you know, one week it'll be preparing for the administration certificate, the next week, and you're talking about branding with LinkedIn portfolio, and the next week, you know, as you advance, it kind of scaffolds, and so it's in a way where it sets you up for success if you're really investing your time and energy into entering the Salesforce ecosystem. And I think one of the best weeks for me was when we were going over resume building, and they even had brought in an expert, like coach, if you will, Steve Ellers, who has his own company now, and give some really great feedback in terms of what to like watch out for and what you should do on your resumes. So that was just something that was really helpful. And then of course there's the community of your cohort that you are in. And I think a lot of people have touched on this already, but I definitely feel like it's amazing to build those connections and relationships with people where you feel comfortable reaching out and asking. Like I asked Tyler, you know, a month before I started studying for the business analyst exam, like, how was that exam? You know, like any tidbits or, you know, nuggets of advice you give, and just, or, you know, Shay later about the building an experience cloud website, and just not being so intimidated, reaching out to, you know, kind of strangers on LinkedIn. You're really like, you feel truly comfortable reaching out to the people in your cohort, asking the questions that you might be shy with, you know, if you didn't have sort of that feeling of trust and like networking beforehand. So yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mary. Yeah, I really love that we have this group and networking within the TACC healthcare cohort. It's just so nice to be talking about Salesforce with people with the same background. We can relate to each other. Okay, our next question is, how is TACC different from other programs like, let's say, Talent Tracker? Go ahead, Crystal, and answer that question for us, please.
So I'm probably going to answer the question with what everyone wants to hear. How much does it cost, right? So no, really, as like, I'll echo what pretty much my other cohort members and my lead have said. Salesforce is invested in the future careers of people from underrepresented groups, right? And so you wouldn't normally consider yourself working in healthcare being underrepresented, but in this particular space, HLS is growing, and it's growing rapidly. So they need us. They need the people that speak the lingo. They need the people that know the pain points of what is going on in our healthcare system. Why doesn't this EMR work? Why, you know, how can we figure out a way to get our patients and caregivers to be able to communicate with providers? How can we fix this issue with payers and figuring out, let's see, like prior authorizations, for instance. Salesforce is capable of doing all that, and who better to build, configure, and work these systems than us, no matter what your role is, from, like Lori said, the housekeeper to the CEO. It doesn't matter what your role is. You have something to contribute. So Salesforce is invested in this, and yeah, you don't pay like a registration fee. You don't, you know, go click on a link and put your credit card in, and then they're going to charge you for 11 weeks straight or anything like that. Your qualifying factor is that you're new to the ecosystem. You come from an underrepresented background. In this case, you are a healthcare hero. And once that screening, after fundamentals and that screening goes through, you join the cohort. That's all there is to it. And honestly, you just go through the motions. If it's a weekly webinar that's recorded, you jump on and participate in the chats. If you're working 3 to 11 and the Zooms are at 7 at night, well, you come home and watch it at 2 in the morning, which is probably something I would do. So yeah, so that's, I would say, one of the main things that sets this program apart. You will find that there are programs out there. There are some that are paid. There are some that have maybe no affiliation or a partnership with Salesforce. But who better to get the career development training part from, especially if finances is an issue. You don't have to worry about that part. So another cool thing that sets this program apart. Just piggybacking off of a few things that Mary mentioned, when this cohort is done, it's not done. Like my group, I'm going to tell you, we are a chatty group. We handled business, but we started a LinkedIn group chat, and I think we broke it because then we ended up on Slack. Lori had an inactive Healthcare Heroes Slack, and we revived it. And we are in there 7 days a week, sometimes 24 hours a day. I embarrassed myself in the random chat yesterday because it looked like someone stole my phone and was typing random things, but I self-corrected. But no, these people have become like my family. I mentioned that I moved 800 miles away from home. I don't have family here. And I went through the 11 weeks with these individuals, and we all felt like the same. We all had the same issues. We were burnt out. We can't stand the people we live with sometimes. We were just looking for an out. We're looking for time freedom. We're looking for money freedom. We're looking for all of these different things. And so who better than to share something like that with? And Salesforce in and of itself, if you're here as a guest and you're not already on LinkedIn, I encourage you to connect with everyone that has posted their LinkedIn in the chat and just plug in Salesforce, and you're going to see a common word pop up. Well, two words. The first one is ecosystem, and the second one is Ohana. And if you know what Ohana means, okay, Lilo and Stitch, Ohana means family. No, it truly, truly, truly is. That's something that this affords. And I feel like with my healthcare heroes, we're like in Ohana within the Ohana. And there's a couple people here who were not in my cohort, but they're my peeps too, and they know that. And so I know that I can pick on them. They know that they can pick on me, and we all just really, really support each other. So that is definitely something. I don't know that you will find that with some other program that may want to give you some career type guidance. So, and being in healthcare, you're used to like your work family, right? So now this is your Salesforce family. And it's honestly, it's just something you're not going to find anywhere, I don't think. Not on the level that we do this. So, yeah. And another thing that is really beneficial for you is while you're in the cohort, you will have the opportunity to apply for scholarships to say, I think someone mentioned in the chat they were going through a boot camp now. So Salesforce actually offers Trailhead Academy, which is a boot camp. If you're not getting it free and you're paying, it's a lot of money. But if you're in the Talent Alliance, you do have the opportunity to sign up for, I think that there's a few boot camps that you can take advantage of. And it's not going to be handed to you. Like Anne-Marie said, you still, or Jessica said, you have to work for it. But it's beneficial. You'll have some guidance there. You'll have guidance from your group members. And then the other opportunity also clicked is, Lori, if I'm not mistaken, now they're partners with Salesforce.
Yes, Click used to be their own company.
They
And
used to be
then last
independent.
year, yeah. So last year, Salesforce acquired them. So that now, well, they don't have to worry now about having to charge. But
Right.
although I think they're starting to also look into charging for those. I
Yeah.
don't think they will ever charge to ACC graduates. But I think
Right.
they're gonna start to charge for those others just because there had been not so serious applicants that they would apply, they would get this slot and then not appear, not really work with the team. So it's in their very first cohort, I was in a quest, which was a 5-week program while I was waiting for my start date at Booz Allen. And I was so disappointed with my teammates because not everyone was attending, not everyone was working for the we were supposed to work on our deliverables, So it was hard to work on something that was supposed to be a teamwork, but there's only a couple of us working on the deliverables and would actually submit or up to percent during the sessions, and well, I did not present because I was already hired. I was thinking, let the others have the floor and have the exposure. But yeah, it was really disappointing. So apparently that's the reason why they will start charging, just so to weed out the ones who are not serious about it. But KCC, I think they won't. I don't think they will charge at all for the KCC graduates. And if you want to check what I posted, there's a link to Salesforce Ben's post. If you haven't connected or you haven't followed Salesforce Ben, he posted something about the internship that Salesforce is going to start pretty soon, if they haven't already. And it will be a paid internship. So you can see that they are really gearing up to be supportive of the new talent, because these internship programs, they are paid, like they will pay the newbie so that they will go through the internship program. And I think if I am understanding correctly what they are trying to do, I think they will start with the CACC groups to offer those internship programs. Like maybe, I'm not saying that they will, but I am guessing that CACC graduates will also be prioritized for this internship. So I'm really excited about that. Okay. We have another question about what kinds of jobs or roles are available or are panelists looking for. And I will invite everyone in our panel to answer the question. We can start with Tiana.
I had an interesting segue into my current role. Unlike everybody else here, I'm in the mental health space. I'm a social worker, slightly different from the other panelists. And I saw a post and they were like, hey, we're hiring, looking for admins with a child welfare background. And I said, hey, that's me. They must be talking about me. So I reached out to the CEO of the company. I reached out to the person who had made that post, introduced myself, asked for an opportunity to chat with them, sent my resume. And the CEO reached back out and said, hey, yeah, we're going to bring you in for an interview. So I went on the interview, went on another interview, and landed the role with this company that primarily is working right now in the child welfare arena, doing Salesforce implementations to totally transform the child welfare arena. And so that's working with social workers, working with government agencies, working with and for youth and families to make this a less taxing experience for everyone involved. And that's my goal. Right. I never wanted to transition out of social work. I always wanted to expand my social work career to include the tech space. So I'm going to stay in my niche and move around and continue to expand.
Thank you, Tia. Okay, next up, Jessica.
I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I am currently in the process of becoming a purposeful, maybe admin, or at least an end user in dental space. Since my company will be going through implementation and trying to figure out how to use Salesforce in dentistry for billing, which will be awesome to learn and go through. I really had been focused on kind of just getting my feet wet doing like admin or BA skill. But through this process and through this just investigating myself and my skills, like healthcare and administration in the dental space, like I'm more leaning towards like client success manager kind of roles, because what I do is translating to clients, taking care of them. And they use Salesforce too. So I don't have to build as much stuff. Like I could be an end user, but still get up there too. So there are a lot of opportunities out there, and it doesn't have to just start with admin or BA or dev. There are so many opportunities. Just having some knowledge just opens up more opportunities for us.
Thank you. Crystal?
I agree with what Jessica said, and Tiana as well. So I've changed my mind about 3 different times. Okay. But that's the process you're going to go through. Like when I was going to school for nursing, I swore up and down I was going to deliver babies. That was going to be my thing. And by the time I finished school, how I managed to end my L&D rotation doing 3 births, I don't know, but I was done at that point. So, you know, I'm working towards my admin exam right now, but you know, at the end of the day, it's foundational, but it could be the whole length of your career. I do like to code. I know a little bit about coding. I could potentially go the developer route. So there's a lot that you can do here. UX design, if that's something you like to do. I see that Trailhead has now got something regarding cybersecurity on there. So you literally can just design your life, design your career the way that you want it. And if you want to get 1 or 2 certs and let that be that, you can do that. Are there people with 20 and 30 certs? Yeah, there are. I don't know exactly what their focus is, but hey, if that's what floats your boat and that boat is just floating, then that's what you do. Nobody's going to judge you for it. At least we're not. And you're probably going to make a ton of money doing it. But yeah, whatever it is that you choose you want to do. And if you decide you want to be an admin 1 year and then go get a job as a developer and then decide the next year you just want to be a business analyst, you can do that. It's completely up to you.
Thank you, Crystal. Yeah, that's very true.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, and I also want to add, I have an interview tomorrow and I have one on Monday, and I am not certified yet. So just go do the dang on thing, okay? That's the way I look at it. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And I did not apply for these jobs. These are recruiters. I just told Jessica earlier, I don't know what I did to my LinkedIn in the last week, but my inbox has been busy this whole last week. I mean, I did 2 super badges, and that could be it. I don't know, but they found me. So
See, and I want to know, because all my recruiters want 8 to 10 years of experience and go, why are you responding to us? You don't have that experience.
Yeah.
Like, did you not look at my profile when you messaged me?
Yeah,
Give
and
it
that's
back
going
to
to
them.
happen. One of them's for a developer role, and I told him, like, I'm not a developer. I know things like SQL and Excel. Like I could be a data analyst type admin, but I don't. He's like, no, don't worry about that. Like we want to talk to you. Okay, you got it. I'll see you tomorrow at
Awesome.
11.
Well, just to piggyback on the developer, I am a declarative developer. I don't code. I do clicks, low code, no code development. So in essence, I'm also a developer. All right. Next up is Anne Marie.
Crystal just blew everybody else out of the water. Oh my gosh, my face hurts from smiling so hard for you. Okay. Well, I'm not as cool as Crystal. I mean, I'm pretty awesome, but I'm not as cool as Crystal. But my current job working in O&P, that's my regular 8 to 5. So I am being very particular in who I'm applying to. Like I may be applying to 5 to 10 jobs per month, and just shooting my shot and trying to be specific. I would like to stay in the healthcare field because that's what I'm good at. And that's what I know. I mean, we know L codes, we know diagnosis codes, we know how to chart stuff, we know how to document stuff, because if you don't document it, then it didn't happen. So obviously, putting it in on Salesforce, making sure it's all in there, because then you can go back and be like, right here, this is what I did right here, fight me. So that's my current goal. I mean, I do leave maybe 2 to 3 spots open where I'm just going to be like, shoot a resume off to this one company that has nothing to do with healthcare. But I'm like, why not? Let's see what kind of magic happens. Actually, fun fact. So going back to the whole networking and putting yourself out there and posting and all of that kind of stuff, I made a connection way back in December when I signed up in Talent Stacker. And I made a post being like, I'm in Talent Stacker, be my friend, come let me hang out with the cool kids. And this one lovely lady, when I also connected with Lori and got into the healthcare group, because she's also in the healthcare group, she was like, hey, it's so nice to meet somebody else that's also in healthcare, having a healthcare background. This homegirl messaged me the other day being like, hey, we have a position open in my company. It's not healthcare related, but your name immediately popped in my brain and I like what you post and I like all your things, so apply. And I was just like, me? You want me? You're talking to me? Okay, yeah, sure. Like, made my resume look all nice and pretty, and I haven't heard back, but fingers crossed. So connect, talk to everyone, put the stuff out there, make your dumb posts, make your good posts too, like whatever it is. If you
Be
did a
authentic.
badge,
In the truck.
so
Okay.
whatever it is, put it
Can
out
I
there,
jump in on that on one note?
please.
If you are like me and you don't like to talk to people, I mean, I realize I talk to people all day as a therapist and, everywhere else, but like on social media, I stay off of it. Like I lurk in the shadows and just want to read and scroll and mind my business. TACC is a great place to be because, on LinkedIn, there are a gazillion people, even though like, I think everybody on this panel is also a talent stacker. Like I also never really talk in talent stacker, but in TACC, you have a small cohort of people. And then there are even smaller group of you who are super duper active and those become your people for real. And you get to make connections with them. You get to build with them. You get to tell them about your struggles and you get to use them as social capital as well, right? Not in a manipulative way, but like for example, Crystal just said she doesn't know how people found her. That is a lie. Crystal is helping everybody all of the time, giving resources all of the time, and making an impact all of the time, right? I think Mary referred to Shia and Shia's experience cloud and portfolio help, right? Like these are connections that are important and useful, especially if you're part of that introvert club.
Yeah, and on adding to that, when I was still looking for a job, my first job, I was very active on LinkedIn, and it wasn't that I was trying to come up with original content every time. No, my activity was more of, okay, I did this app and I applied the concepts of formula, etc., or notification setting or email notification, things like that. Those are what I would talk about. Or you probably have seen some sort of like personal posts on LinkedIn for other people. I kind of don't do that. There is something like a LinkedIn hard mode where apparently the ones who participate would have to have original content posts every day for 100 days, which I'm like, I'm not like that. I can't. But I was very active with webinars. When I would attend a webinar, I would engage. I would ask questions. I try to make the panelists, if there's a panel, or the host remember me. And in a way, doing that and being a regular attendee was supporting them. And then after the webinar, I would be posting about my takeaways, about my gratitude for those who prepared, because it takes some effort to prepare a webinar and spread this information. And if, let's say, I wasn't too too good at spreading the word before the webinar, who would be the attendees? Only a handful. So we would reach a few. But by me sharing, let's say they have the webinar on their post, and I share that to my network, and more people attended because I shared it, then more people um, kind of supported them in a way because more people, attended, and they feel that their efforts were rewarded. So in essence, they also saw me as a supporter, a regular supporter of their webinar, um, and they appreciate that. Then they remember me more. So that's another insider info for you that I don't hear a lot of people talk about that strategy, but it worked really well for me. One of my favorite webinars is Military Trailblazer Office Hours by David Scott Nava. I'm not military, but I was encouraged by another healthcare hero to join that. And I've been attending when I could, especially when I was still not working. And I would share to my network when there would be sessions that I would be interested in, whether or not I would be able to attend. So they get more attendees. And I don't know if Salesforce Military has some incentive from Salesforce when they do have more reach. But one thing for sure, David Nava appreciated me. So he even gave me a shout out at some point about, making a difference in the community. So that kind of being immersed in the Salesforce community to me was the secret sauce. Okay. So I wasn't blessed with, I wasn't gifted. I'm not gifted with words. I can't.
Thank you very much.
But that approach was very helpful for me. It meant, you can try different approaches, but that worked for me. So you might want to try that too. Anyway, back to the question of the roles and jobs available and what the panelists are looking for. I believe it's Tyler's turn.
Sure. I won't beat a dead horse because I feel like we've talked about a lot of them. And you guys have heard some good options of the jobs that are out there, but just know that if you're feeling, insecure about what you're learning or that it's not for you, just know that in this ecosystem or in this space, there's something for everybody. So if you really like to talk to people, there's a job for that. If you really like to sit behind a computer and just do your work, there's a job for that. If you like a healthy mix, there's a job for that. If you want to go in the office, there's a job for that. If you want it to be remote, there's a job for that. So don't be scared or feel like because you're going down your big wide tunnel vision of what's on Trailhead, it's all got to be the same thing. There's something out there for everyone. And you've heard a few stories already today from everybody about that hidden job market of just how well networking works and how people reach out to you about jobs. So just know there's a lot out there that this field offers.
Okay. And then we have Mary to answer that question.
Yeah, so I think also just to add my 2 cents to a great list of everything that has been already mentioned. You know, when you're starting out in a new field, it's hard because you don't know what you don't know. That's been my kind of mantra through this and my journey, where I actually, before Salesforce, embarked on a coding boot camp thinking I want to be a developer because I want a remote job. And, you know, I'm tech savvy enough. Well, you know, I went through this whole process and I proved that I could do it, but it wasn't what I really enjoyed. And I wasn't really engaging with the work. And with Salesforce, I feel so much more engaged and invested because what was lacking in the developer world for me was that the human component and getting to interact with people. And it was still a very good learning experience because it showed what my, you know, kind of innate strengths and skill sets were and what I needed from my future career, wherever that might be. I knew that I still wanted to have some interaction with people, right? And, you know, I went through the administration route first, but recently in the last month, since going down the business analyst path, now I've learned like, okay, this is actually like a full career as well in and of itself. And I really resonated with it. And it really motivated me to actually, yeah, now consider pursuing that. And so I think what everyone's kind of said really well is just that there's so much flexibility within the whole greater ecosystem that you can always explore and find opportunities for like advancing your career, if it's you want to specialize in a niche or specific field. There's just so much room to explore, which is great. And so I think that it does appeal to those of us that are comfortable with having that learning mindset, you know, that you're always going to be learning things and it will always be changing and you are open to that change. So yeah, and personally for me, I am looking to target remote jobs, like fully remote jobs. So I have a couple of resources that I'm following for that, because I know that that is kind of its own world as well. And yeah, I also recently had an interview a few weeks ago with the CEO of a startup company, and it was purely because we had a mutual acquaintance who, you know, referred me to the CEO. And so I thought it was a very casual, just meet and greet. Here's some advice from my experience in Salesforce, and it ended up becoming a job opportunity that they were willing to interview for without even having submitted a resume or even seeing the job posting. So it is very real what everyone's saying about the hidden job market, in that you just never know where these connections with the people you network with will take you, right? So that was really eye-opening. And I want to also just put out there that it was really encouraging to hear the CEO. He said how much he realizes that there's a really high demand for the Salesforce talent and professionals who work in this space. And he's been struggling to find people to do the work. So just kind of, again, I think when Tiana said that, here are all these jobs that are going to be on the horizon and expected to be open, like, yes, that is very much a reality that leaders and companies hiring Salesforce people are acutely aware of. So I know that there's a lot of talk about like how the market's been difficult and it's been harder to find jobs. And then, that's definitely been the case and experience for some of us. But I also want to just show a different perspective in that there are a lot of leaders out there who value the expertise and skills that you're bringing into Salesforce with your next job. So don't sell yourself short.
Exactly. Yeah. Even if you feel like you're entry level in Salesforce, the soft skills you develop in healthcare counts a lot. It weighs more heavily than technical skills that you have at this point in your career, Salesforce career. So you just gotta show that you have what it takes for a a team that's expected from a team player, because a lot of these jobs rely on a team. So teamwork, your communication skills, a lot of soft skills really rely on that. And also, since you have the healthcare background, you might want to leverage that. You don't have to limit yourself to the health cloud, but if you're going after some, let's say, companies that actually are looking for people with healthcare background, definitely leverage that. I do know at, at least 3 companies who are healthcare focused. So, and they don't necessarily look for people with health cloud, um, but the understanding of healthcare, the medical supplies, the logistics, the referral system, those are what they are looking for based on the few CEOs that I've talked with. So yeah, definitely. Let's say you're gonna make a post on LinkedIn about something that pertains to your prior job that has to do with referral system. Why don't you talk about it? Maybe some of those CEOs will find that post. And don't be shy to connect to CEOs, to recruiters, to hiring managers, people with high in the higher position, not just people in the same level as you or just a little bit ahead of you. Don't be shy. Just connect with them, and that way you will have an audience. Okay. Okay. We have one last question for the panelists. What do you wish you had known at the start of your Salesforce journey? And Crystal actually volunteered to answer that question.
So having gone through nursing school and then preparation to become a mortgage loan officer, I didn't know it was going to be this hard to prepare. I didn't. So I also had a baby in the middle of all this. So, but you can do it. It's doable. You have to time block. But your journey is your journey. It's no one else's journey but yours. If you have to work, you have to work. Your bills still have to get paid. If you have the luxury of not having to work, it's still your journey. It may happen really, really fast for some people. It may take others some time. So I'm a really fast learner, but not this. This is a whole different animal. And it's an animal, it's a beast. But I'm enjoying myself along the way. So, I do wish in the beginning when I started that that I planned a little bit better. But for me right now, it's just forward thinking and just on to the next. Just figuring out what I'm going to do next. And I'm right there, when something is like right there within your grasp, And there's no turning back for me. I left the bedside December of 2020, and going back is not an option. My option is to move forward. So yeah, so happy that everyone is here tonight. I hope that you took something away from this, and let's make it so that healthcare heroes are not underrepresented anymore. And spread the word. I think everyone has posted their LinkedIn in the comments. I'm happy to post mine again, but reach out. If I don't know the answer to something, what do you tell somebody when you don't know the answer? You're either going to help them find it, or you're going to lead them in the right direction, right? That's what we're all taught to do. So, so yeah, that's the plan.
I just want to add to that. One thing that I wish I had known earlier in my journey was there's there's a lot of upward mobility. And if you've never heard of the path to CTA, that means path to certified technical architect. That's the highest you can get. And but I'm only I'm trying to reach solutions architect, not technical architect, not certified, And the solutions architect, I think, is a lower hanging fruit. But I am posting in the chat a screenshot that I shared with the healthcare heroes actually just a little, just a few days ago. And if you've been in the healthcare for a while, what's the highest you had for pay without going through the travel nursing route? You know, if you click on that image that I shared on the chat, in the description there, actually in the actual LinkedIn posting, required 7 years. That's a mid senior level pre-sales solution architect with the offer of 149,600 per year to 202,400 per year pay range. That's the dangling carrot that I always use for my son, who's a PTA and studying for admin. And because I've seen some of there was at least one person who got his certificate in admin and applied. And this was the person, when I checked his LinkedIn, he wasn't really that active. He wasn't working on his LinkedIn optimization. And he just gave up. He went back to being a PT or PTA. And I was like, dang. I don't know. Somebody could have shown him something like this. Because I've heard of people who would get to even up to 350K. So if you're still young, there's a lot of growth. I'd be happy with the 200 in 5 years. And we do have, in my company, we do have a lot of solution architects that they don't necessarily have all the certificates that are required in the path to CPA pyramid. And they have that title, so it is possible. You don't have to be very tech savvy. I have verified with at least 3 mentors who are architects, solution architects, or enterprise architects, that you don't have to be very, very technical. You don't need to know how to code, but you do have to have that good overview of how different systems work together so that you can architect your software for the company that you're building the software for. So solution architects have a different kind of headache, but it's now that I'm working at Blue Salad, which is a big enterprise level of company, I can have, I'm appreciating what SAs are doing. It's like I said, it's totally different from what I am doing as a solution engineer slash technology developer. But yeah, just to kind of incentivize you to move on and just do your best, hang on tight, and keep chugging along. Don't give up, because eventually this is for your family. I'm sure a lot of us, this is for our families, right? Especially if you want to also be financially independent quickly. A lot of us here came from Choose FI. So, and if you don't know Choose FI, look it up. Anyway, so like I said earlier, I'm one of the leads of the TACC Healthcare Heroes cohort. And as a lead, I am a mentor. And this summer cohort, we actually don't have anything because all the leads are taking a break. But I'm going back to being a volunteer by fall. So if you tried to apply for the TACC and then you got rejected, that's not because of you. It's because there's none of us leads for the Healthcare Heroes cohort are available this summer. All right. Any other questions from the audience? Feel free to unmute and ask your question. Come on. There was actually one question before, but she already left the conversation. She was asking how to join the study group. Can anyone who has been in the study groups answer that question?
Are we talking like making our own study groups? Or are we talking about the healthcare study group that we started?
That's what wasn't clear to me. I asked her whether that was via the TACC, but she did not answer my question.
I
So,
think she is already in TACC. I think she's looking for the quick document. She asked for the link to the small study group.
Hi, it was me. It was Larissa. I
okay.
actually, hi. I'm actually already in the cohort moms. They sent me the quick email to sign up, but I don't see the link at the very top. You know how it says the time and the dates. It doesn't say, I don't see the link to press on it or when that time comes to do the study groups, if that makes any sense.
Reach out to the leader of the group that you're interested in. Their email address should be in the document. Reach out to them directly.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I'll definitely do that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I don't know if that gets updated because I keep having members reach out to one that I started months ago. So you may even need to create your own study group to have a current group that's going to. Depending on what group you're trying to get into.
I will share the Healthcare Heroes on Slack just in case, people want to join and then kind of self-organize as well for a study group.
Come join the party.
We've answered a lot of questions in the chat, so there may not be many left. But I saw that Shayla Mark hopped on, and I just wanted to acknowledge her presence and say thank you. Shayla Mark is Salesforce internal and is responsible for our existence as the Taylor Alliance career cohort. And so Shayla, thank you for all of your efforts and all of the work that you do.
Very much appreciated.
Very much appreciated.
Yeah.
Really tried to
Thank you.
sneak in. But no, and thank you. This is awesome. I didn't even know this was taking place. I was just on LinkedIn trying to get caught up, and I saw your post, Tiana, about this webinar, and I was like, let me hop on and see. So excuse my noisy kids in the background because this is like the last minute thing of me joining. But this is great. The information is great. I'm so happy to see you all getting together and representing, I guess, the true Ohana spirit by giving back and trying to pull people up as you climb yourself. So I commend all of you. Thank you for everything you're doing. And yeah, thank you. This is amazing.
Thank you for joining us, Shayla.
Yeah.
That was a pleasant surprise. Yay, all the support.
Of course. And there was one question earlier about Clicks and whether or not it was free. Yes, it is free for all career cohorts members and anyone who has access to Trailhead Coach through any other workforce development organization. So Salesforce Military, I think Tech Forward, Mom Relaunch, and a couple of others. But yes, definitely for anyone that's enrolled in the career cohorts program.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Welcome.
Um,
And I wish I had information about that micro internship. I do not. So as I learn more, I will share. I'm hoping that, it will impact the career cohorts in a positive way. But for now, like I don't know anything beyond what was shared on LinkedIn via Salesforce Ben's post. So hopefully more information to come.
you read my mind. That was my next question to you.
I could tell you were like thinking about something. Like, okay, Lori's about to ask me about the micro internship. So yeah.
All right. Do we have any more questions from the audience? If not, we will be ending this very wonderful session. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We really appreciate that you attended and shared your evening with us. Any parting words from our panelists?
You
I'm
guys
just
can do
echoing,
it.
thanks again for coming.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you all.
Alrighty. This recording will be available, and I will upload it to our Healthcare Heroes YouTube channel as soon as it's available. If you haven't joined the Healthcare Heroes group, please join. I will post the link there. I will also post on my personal page. Okay. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much.
Good night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks for coming,
Thank you so much.
everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Have a good night.
Everyone. Bye.
Good night.